Thanks a lot for that question, but I also need to say one or two things. Aside being a lecturer here, then I was the head of the Department of Mechatronics Engineering. Also, at that time, I was also the director, Center for Open Distance and E-Learning Code. So, and once you are a director, people regard you, especially for open distance and e-learning, that is more or less a dual mode university. You are more or less equivalent to what we can say a pseudo vice chancellor. So as director of CODEL, I was a pseudo vice chancellor of that because we have our own system, and then that means that FUT since then has been a dual mode university. So the transition was not so much, and then again, most of those things that most of the ideas were, most of them we had it planned from here. So it was more or less just going on higher pedestal to implement what you have been doing. Like most of those things that we implemented at Summit University, we have been running. We used to run some of them here at the Department of Mechatronics Engineering. So the transition was very, very seamless, and then very, very okay. And it has been a nice journey and a nice experience.
At university, moving from being an academic to the management role.
Part of what I promised them then at Summit University include establishment of some ICT and engineering departments, which include mechatronics engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, communication engineering, cybersecurity, data science, computer science, and then information tech. But the whole idea has to do along what we call emerging technologies. So the idea is that let's have a university that will be known for Industry 4.0 technology. And again, we also try as much as possible to democratize what we call artificial intelligence and democratize grantmanship in the university. In the university as of now, all final year project must involve the usage of artificial intelligence, and what we also practice here, which has to do with capstone project, we have also introduced it there. So at the beginning, we promised them that we are going to have a new university that will be known for what we call emerging technology, and that's what we went there to implement.
At university, moving from being an academic to the management role.
One thing about education is our quality assurance, and then we also introduce some KPIs like teaching efficiency rating, and we also introduce some other mechanisms that will ensure that we go along with quality. So now, the first thing we implemented there has to do with what is called student-centeredness learning. That is, we move from lecturer-centeredness to what is called student-centeredness, and that also has a lot to do with quality assurance. And aside that, we introduce some key performance indicators, and among which include the quality of teaching and the quality of studentship. And we try as much as possible to also introduce some initiatives that assisted our transition from lecturer-centeredness university to what is called student-centeredness, where students are the center of all activities. As we all know, in the university, we have two main principal actors: academics, or what is called lecturers, and the students. Others are support. So for you to migrate to that, you need to know the philosophy and the way we implemented it, ensure that we had a seamless integration. So it's not just about the number, it's about the quality, and quality also has been able to rub on the enrollment. The enrollment has also increased, and apart from that, I also mentioned grantmanship. From our experience here, we also introduced grantmanship, and as of now, we can say the university is now known for grantmanship, and they have been able to attract both local and national and international grants within that space of 4 years.
university, moving from being an academic to the management role?
Don't forget Newton's laws of motion and like that. To every action, there
There's
will
an
be
equal and opposite reaction.
reaction. So, and again, implementing it here doesn't mean that when you get to an higher terrain or a new terrain, it will be the same. No. So we had little challenge, but with our approach, that is, it's a mentoring and what we say collective reasoning. I think we were able to surmount most of those challenges. But again, different terrain, different mechanism. You may just have to tweak one or two things, but alhamdulillah, and we thank God, it has been very, very, very good. And then the most important thing again is that here is a federal university owned by the federal government, but over there you need to account for every naira. So you talk about the value for that money. So that I can say that's one of the things there that made us to actually achieve some of this success, and the support of those we met on ground and the council and the other members of staff there. I can say it has been a very, very wonderful experience.
University, moving from being an academic to the management role?
Thanks a lot for asking about emerging technology. See, nowadays, just like let me start by talking about NUC and the curriculum. Most parents or some of us outside there, we don't know that in Nigeria University, almost every 5 years, so maximally 10 years, you have to change your curriculum. And now we used to operate what is called BMAS. BMAS means Basic Minimum Academic Standard. About 4 years ago, NUC introduced what they call CCMAS, Core Curriculum Minimum Academic Standard. And then that now gave us that leverage for us to introduce emerging technology, because there's nothing you do now that you don't use AI. Even the way you sneeze, the way you eat, the way we defend our nation, the way we work, you use emerging technologies. I don't want to say artificial intelligence only. And when was the last time you stand by the roadside to ask for a drop or so? Now you use ride-hailing service like Uber, Bolt, and the rest. That's AI, linking you with just assisting in solving that problem. And then now you use some of this fintech, OP, money point, and that is, they have actually democratized banking and making banking available to each and everyone. So that also has to do with emerging technologies. So again, it has affected the way we eat, the way we work, and the way we defend our, and also it is now affecting the way we learn. So we must, and there is no saying about that, we must inculcate it, we must democratize it in our curriculum. So now coming back to CCMAS. CCMAS has given every higher institution, especially university, that leverage to have 30% of what students are going to be learning, to be unique to that university. So we use our 30% to introduce some of those emerging technologies, just like artificial intelligence, clean and renewable energy. And we also introduce some other courses like history, heritage, and storytelling. With the plethora of social media platforms now, you must be able to tell your story. And we also introduce what is called family and leadership skill. And we also introduce academipreneurship, because we must be able to turn academic ideas into business ventures, into naira and kobo. So we democratize those courses, meaning that once you come to our university, irrespective of your course or study, you must take those courses, and they are more or less like what we call GNS, that is General Study Courses. So again, now to summarily answer your question, it means that it's a must if we really want to prepare students for today and not to prepare them for yesterday. We must introduce and we must democratize emerging technologies into our curriculum, and we must also use it in the way we teach. Now, 20, 30 years ago, there was nothing like online conference, but now we have it. So you can also, 20 years ago, there was nothing like online CBT, LMS, and less, but now you can see things such. So we must apply it, we must use it if we are preparing students and graduate for tomorrow.
At university, moving from being an academic to the management role?
Summit University is part of what we call the KU8 Plus Consortium, that is Association of Universities in Kwara State. So one thing again is that there is really no competition, but we are providing access to education to those who will have failed the franchise by not being given access, maybe to federal or state higher institution. But again, and then there is a niche that we have tried to cut, and that niche is what we are pursuing, and that niche is what we are relying on for the feasibility, and the feasibility is coming. And the niche is that once you come to Summit University, you are attending a university that will not only prepare you for graduation, but we prepare you for what we call the industry-ready graduate or society-ready graduate. That is, after graduation, you don't go for all this 1 year training and less in order to fit into any organization. No, we produce what we call industry-fitted graduates. So that's part of our own selling point. And for you to do that, and that's why we have democratized emerging technology into our curriculum and producing our graduates that have those necessary skills. So what we are cutting, and you know that we are just less than 10 years of age, but we have come a long way, and we have caught that niche now. That when you go and listen, and you ask, hey, is there any university along the emerging technology spectrum? Summit University will pop up as your best choice, and that's what we have been doing.
At university, moving from being an academic to the management role?
For our emerging technology, we are also taking that leg into what is called health sciences and nursing. And for the next 12 months, we shall be looking into health and law. So, and the plan is that what number we have now, we want to double it within that same period, and also introduce law programs, and also double the enrollment rate. And we have done it before, and we are going to do it again. That's the first one. And the second thing that we are also looking at is that we are going to also double the number of postgraduate programs we have. So that is the plan. And much more importantly, we are aiming to win one of these INSTAR-rated research grants within the next few months.
At university, moving from being an academic to the management role?
Let me start by saying that Rome was not built in a day. That's the first thing. And then number two is that there is what you call continuous improvement. And then there is always that space for each and every one of us to play and to actually shine. So no competition. The sky is wide enough for everybody to shine. And then number two, this is time you can start preparing. You cannot prepare yourself once you are given that responsibility. Not that you are still a follower, or that you are still learning, or that you are still trying to build yourself. This is the right time for you to learn and acquire the necessary skill. Because once given that responsibility, you don't learn on the job. So to the Gen Z that normally say school na scam, school no be scam, or school na real. And it is one of those things that will get you noticed and out there. I wish all of us the best I can wish myself. Thank you.
Search TV,